Hello and welcome to part 2 of the two-part episode for Screaming Females, and we'll resume with where we left off with the band's fifth album, Ugly. Released in 2012, it was released for the same record label, in this case being Don Giovanni Records, and it is actually confirmed to be produced by the band themselves alongside a guy named Steve Albini. So after spending part 1 not talking about a lot, I'm glad that I finally have some other info for this album. It would actually become something of a success after it was released, and the band would go on a big tour to promote it throughout 2012, and the album itself would get a lot of positive reviews from big music magazines who actually know what they're doing, unlike me, who is not a big music magazine and also doesn't know what he's doing. Anyway, this album starts with the cheerfully titled song It All Means Nothing, and to be fully honest, I think this one gets a positive review from me too. The album, not just the song. It's already a different take from the band in that it's a bit brightened up, and I love the fact that this was the band's choice too, as they are the ones who produced it, as Steve only engineered it, technically. It got so good that Marissa, their lead singer, was named the 77th greatest guitarist of all time by Spin magazine, which isn't the highest spot, but fuck it, I'm just glad she's on there at all, as this album is again another great showcase of her skills. And it's not just her, as the rest of the band again play to their strengths as well, with thick bass riffs and heavy drumming accompanying Marissa's lovely vocal work and great guitar shredding. The production is also just smooth as hell. The album is a much longer affair that actually fills its time quite well, and the lyrics cover topics like lying, feeling lost love, and owning up to your own mistakes for a good central theme of the album too. My favourite song goes to Leave It All Up to Me. Ugly, despite its name and its cover as well, is one of the band's better sounding albums, and it also makes a really good case of all of their hard work finally paying off. Next is album number 6, Rose Mountain. Released in 2015, it was released through Don Giovanni again, and it was produced by Matt Bates, making it the first one where the band didn't have as much of a hand in it. So there was a fair bit that happened between this and Ugly, mostly the band recording a live album in 2014, and this album also having a two-part documentary made by Lance Bangs of all people. There was even a deluxe digital version of the album released exclusively in Australia, so there you go. Anyway, the album starts with the song Empty Head, and this is again another sort of slower paced affair, but still a well put together one. A lot of this album's songs start a bit slower than usual, and they often build to bigger things down the line, really growing on you as they go. But at the same time, it's also still done very much with the band's signature style, with a good mix of muddy sounding indie atmospheres that give way to clean, uplifting tones. That is obviously helped by how the instruments sound, and I think that they lean more into that than usual in this album, which is a subtle shift, but one that I picked up on. I'm not just a pretty face. I'm not a pretty face at all, but I picked up on it. The production does a damn good job of accentuating that fact too, and it fits in really well with the structure, again allowing you to hear all the instruments clearly and distinctly from each other. As usual, the band all play well and sound just great here too. The lyrics aren't as complex, but they still go over things like sadness, hope, abuse, and depression in their own meaningful and interesting way. My favourite song goes to the closing track titled Criminal Image. This is another good change of pace for a band that, by this point, can get away with it, but it never loses its sense of identity as it goes along. And finally, for this two-parter, we reach the band's 7th album, All at Once. Released in 2018, it would come out through the same label, and it would again be produced by both Matt Bates, with the Screaming Females joining him this time around, so yay! So, sort of unsurprisingly, I don't really have a lot of information on what came before this album, but the band did release a singles compilation in 2019 called Singles 2, as in TOO, not the number 2, just so that we're clear. Anywho, this album begins with the song Glass House, and it's sort of clear that this is a more rock-leaning sort of album from the band, veering a bit more away from indie territory as well. And it's again done in a nice natural feeling way that doesn't feel forced because this band is just that fucking good. It's again more restrained with its pace in a lot of places, and it even experiments with its instruments. This is also the first one to use some additional musicians, one of whom is Brendan Canty of legendary art punk band Fugazi. Besides him, there's piano and cello used on a couple of tracks on the album as well, and it fits in with the framework of the album quite nicely. The overall tone of the album just has that creeping feeling that sticks in your head, and considering that this album is over 50 minutes long, that is a hell of a creep, but it's a really good creep. Like that movie that I haven't seen, but I should. It's produced well enough to support that claim, and the band sound great as well, with Marissa proving why she's just that damn good, because she is, goddammit. And the lyrics sort of have a concept to them, linked with themes of love, grief, brokenness, and ultimately self-hope and belief, and of course it's all handled really well as well, because the band they're just so good. They're just so good, guys. They're good. They're good. My favourite song goes to the closing track, Step Outside. All at Once may not be to everyone's liking, but I really enjoyed it, and I can't wait to see what the band come out with next. And that's it for this episode. I hope that you enjoyed it. Did you find this band's music to be a bit ugly or all too much at once? Or were your mountains feeling nice and rosy? I apologise for absolutely nothing there. Anyway, for the next episode I will be covering Anaheim, California's own New Year's Day, but you'll probably most likely see me before that, as there's possibly a Friday night review to come out on Sunday if there is a further night to talk about, and then after that will be the Go Home show for No Love Lost 2. Then next Friday will be No Love Lost 2, and also the last No Love Lost that I'll be doing, and there's a reason for that. As always, thank you for watching, you're awesome, bye bye.